Jack Phillips had a customer come into his Denver bakery who asked him to make a wedding cake for a same-sex ceremony. Because of his faith, Jack turned down the business. He's been in court ever since, and now the Supreme Court is about to hear the case. What are the best arguments that a Christian conservative can make in favor of Jack's choice? To answer that question, we have Stephanie Curry, who's our manager of public policy and an attorney here at Family Policy Alliance. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Stuart.
First, as an organization, we've just signed on to a document that's being sent to the Supreme Court sharing our point of view. Tell us about that.
Family Policy Alliance has submitted, along with our state allies, an amicus brief to the Supreme Court. And what this does, it just explains the American perspective and what many of us believe about this case to be true. And the Supreme Court has the opportunity to review our perspective prior to getting into the legal nuts and bolts of the case.
Right. Now, with your permission, I'd like to hit you with a couple of questions that are the kind we're all hearing from, family members at family gatherings or Facebook friends that we have. And I want to ask these just like they would. So you ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Don't you think it's wrong to discriminate against someone just because they're gay? If you run a business, you should serve everyone who comes through the door. How do you respond to that?
Yes, I think it's wrong. And that's not what's going on here. Jack Phillips, the owner of this bakery, declined to create a wedding cake in support of same-sex marriage. And for him, it was the wedding cake being a symbol of what it represented. He wasn't against gays at all, and in fact served them. And he offered this couple, I'll make you cookies, brownies, I'll make you a birthday cake. I just cannot, because of my principles and religious beliefs, make a wedding cake.
So he turned down the event, not the person.
That's right. Jack Phillips has even said, I'll serve any person anytime, but I won't make any cake for any event.
Now, another argument that I've heard is, I don't see why this is even an issue. It's just a cake. Just bake the cake.
So for Jack Phillips as an artist, his cakes are pieces of artwork. He spends a lot of time on his cakes, and for him it's so much more a symbol, and it's a form of speech. Jack doesn't make cakes that are anti-American or that support Halloween or any kind of principles that cause him to have moral questions about whether he can make a cake to support this. And so for Jack, the same thing with the same-sex ceremony. It's not just a cake. He's making this cake. He's spending a lot of time with this couple. He's delivering the cake to the ceremony. The wedding guests are admiring this cake and saying, who made this for you? And the cutting of the cake is a very important part of the wedding ceremony. And so for Jack, this was an extension of who he is, a speech issue and a representation of who he is as a Christian and a business owner, and he simply couldn't have his name associated with supporting a same-sex ceremony.
And something I like to point out, if your wife made a chocolate cake last weekend, do you save a piece of it until next year?
No. But we save wedding cakes for that special one-year anniversary because it's a special cake.
There's something different about it.
Right.
Now, there are some serious constitutional questions that are being raised by this case. It's not just about cake, it's about the First Amendment.
Yes, and in our amicus brief, we talk about the First Amendment and freedom of expression, and can the government coerce an artist, a baker, a fashion designer, a corporation to violate their principles, and can the government compel them to engage in speech that violates their religious beliefs? And for us, the answer is an absolute no. The government cannot. The First Amendment protects everyone. It protects the Jewish baker's right not to host a Christmas party, and it protects the baker's rights not to create a Nazi cake, or even a few months back, someone didn't want to make a Trump cake. And the First Amendment protects all of those artists and their right to say, no, this violates my religious beliefs, and the government can't force me to create art that supports something that goes against what I believe.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stuart.